Our first event here features library staff member Desiree Wooder to talk with two wonderful forces behind the Black Girls Sew movement, Hakima Hapa and Leslie Ware. We're thrilled to have you. Yes, please give them applause. We're thrilled to have you, and we hope you enjoy this event as well as the rest of the Library of Congress has put together this weekend. Thank you so much.
Okay. So my name is Desiree Woodard, and I'm just thanking y'all for coming and participating in our panel about the book, Black Girls Sew. Y'all have no idea how excited I am about this. Okay, so we have the authors, Hakima Hapa and Leslie Ware. Yes? And just a quick note about me. I'm a librarian at the Library of Congress. I'm about to date myself. I learned to sew in home ec in high school, okay? So it's been a minute. I've been sewing for a while. Okay, just some quick housekeeping notes for everybody. We're gonna do a 30-minute talk, and then 15 minutes out, you'll be able to ask questions. So get your questions together, because I want y'all to ask. I have more if I need to, so don't make me use them, okay? And then they will be from 11 to 12, they'll be signing their book in Hall C, line 20. So, and I'm telling y'all want this book. Seriously, I can't tell you enough. Okay, ladies, I can start asking questions. First of all, thanks for coming. I cannot tell you, I have been bending these ladies' ears since I met them. Okay, so now I'm gonna let you talk to these guys. What made you, why did you decide to write this book? What was the genesis of why you needed to write this book?
I would say for me, I'm Hakima Hapa. One of the things is getting a message out and getting very important materials into the hands of little girls and the people who want to support them that look like them. The book was important that it gave images to something that already existed inside our community.
Leslie?
So this is the 5th book that I've been able to write in the last 8 years, and I started writing books because I never saw girls of color in sewing and activity books. So very similar to Hakima, there just wasn't any representation. And as Judy Blume once said, if you don't see the book on the shelf that you want, like, you have to create it. And so in 2013, I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to start writing, and they've become more and more diverse. And now it's just really exciting to have Black Girls Sew, because it's like all girls of color in one book, so it's really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so y'all about to hear a lot about this book, because now I need to know. Okay, so in this book, there is a section on how to use the book. Why did y'all decide to put that in there? I love it. I think it's a great idea, but why did y'all decide to put that in there?
I think because, like, we just, like, sometimes, like, you get a book and you feel like you have to just, like, go from start to finish, but then maybe there's, like, certain things that you're interested in more than others, and so we thought by including that section in the book, like, it would allow girls to just jump in wherever their interest was the most, and then hopefully they'll, like, read the rest of it too. But we wanted to just, like, give them that invitation to dive in wherever.
There you go. Get in where you fit in. Oh my goodness, I love that. Okay, so there's several sections in the book called Hidden Figures of Fashion. How did y'all determine who to put in there? Because there's a lot of people you could have put in here, but you were very selective. So what made you decide to, with the people that you put in?
I would say some of them are personal influences, but it's also just a gateway. So narrowing it down to the people that are in the book is difficult, but it's just a start.
Okay.
Yep, we have a list of 22, so that could be another book.
I think so.
Yeah, so we talked about it, and we selected the ones that were most inspiring to us and put them in first.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. The book has a section that talks about making your own affirmation. Do you have a personal affirmation, and do you mind sharing it with us?
You could
I always have affirmations. They kind of change from month to month, season to season. The one that I have been saying the most right now. I'm a little embarrassed to share it, but we're here at the National Book Festival. I've been saying my book deals are getting bigger and bigger. I would like to sign a book or more. I would like. So that's my affirmation.
Yes, absolutely. So you know that makes me think you probably have an affirmation about what you want the nonprofit to do.
I would say, just in general, my affirmation and my goals are to continue being a tool for those ancestors and those people who are underrepresented, that they continue to work through me, even when I'm difficult.
Hey, I understand that. That's me too. Okay, so there's also in the book 2 history sections, a brief history on sustainable fabrics, fashion and textiles, and a historic bit on denim. Y'all, the piece on denim, y'all got to read. If you haven't read it, you got to read it for that. That information was so powerful. I can't even begin to tell you. It's like I told them, but my book, I didn't have tabs, but I've got inside this book is highlights and notes and everything, and that was the one that just hit me the hardest. Why did you choose to emphasize those 2 points in history?
So I would say for me, sustainability and denim represent the durability of it, that it takes a lot of water, of just natural resources to produce denim. And it gets wasted, but it's something that it's always around. So it's something that in my own personal fashion design business that I use over and over again. I'm able to create from dollar jeans that I'm finding at thrift stores, magnificent, like the backdrop for the book was created from dollar jeans. And I'm teaching my students that it's very easy to recreate something with things that you have already. So all children outgrow jeans every year. So as a child, I was taught to take my jeans and to cut them off and to make them into shorts. But as I grew, I realized that it just didn't have to be shorts, that we could make other things. So that's where it started for me.
When I think of Black girls, so I always think of denim because, as Hakima said, they always find just the most creative ways to use it, and so that was just like an immediate thought to like include a section about denim. The part about sustainability, I think one of the things we have both in common is that we love to upcycle and reuse materials, and I think it's interesting that like communities of color, poor people, people who have come to this country, have always been like upcycling like back into the 17 and 1800s, and so now it's been really interesting to kind of reclaim upcycling and sustainability in a way that's like chic and accessible and like not what you think of traditionally, like hand-me-downs or like mending is not something that's cool, but we get to make it fashion and make it interesting, and so I thought it was great to highlight that in a different light.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on my timekeeper because I've got a specific question for y'all at the end. But so you also have a section in the book about sewing and fashion as a career. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to know, have y'all ever had anybody go, since y'all have started, since you started a nonprofit in the book, have y'all had anybody that you have been an influence to go into the fashion industry, and how did they let you know, and how did you feel about it?
So I would say for me, I run a nonprofit that has a camp called Soul Green Fashion Camp, and our students started out with us at like 8 years old. Most of those students are now entering college. The oldest of the students may be like 21. So one of the 21-year-olds went from being a camper to a counselor, and then also becoming my personal assistant. She ran my fashion boutique in Brooklyn, and she's now a board member for our nonprofit as well as a college student. So we can really track the history of kind of what some of our students are doing. Most of them are now entering, like we have students in FIT who are high school students, and that's how they got into the program, is using their portfolios and their work from our camp.
FIT is?
Is Fashion Institute of Technology.
Yes. See?
So I've been doing, fashion education for almost 10 years. And so a lot of the kids, again, who started at 8 are now entering college. I do have one student who I worked with when I still had my full-time job at Girl Scouts, and I was just like volunteering teaching sewing. So he was like one of the very first, and now he has like his own label, and he's like interned with like Kanye West and Pharrell. So I would say Wade is kind of like the biggest success story that I've like been able to have like influence and impact on. But like a lot of the students are entering, you know, SCAD, FIT, Parsons. So it's like really exciting to be a part of their journey and to have planted seeds like early on.
I agree. Okay, so let's see. Okay, once again, back to the book. Y'all did a piece on color theory. I just had to tell y'all that was such a great idea. What made you decide to add that particular piece? Because I know it's a part of fashion, I know it's part of design, but that was, I mean, it's a really well done piece that you have in the book on color theory. So what made y'all decide to do it, and how did you decide to craft it so simply but straight to the point?
I would say, for me, a lot of what's in the book was a learning process as well. So it's a collaboration. So some of the pieces that are inside the book, when we've had interviews previously, one of the things that Leslie said was that she tried to pack in as much in this book, because we never know if we'll get a chance to do it again. And so I think that all the points in it kind of represent those things. Like we don't know how much will be allowed in a book in terms of the process, and if we'll ever get a chance to do it again. So that's where most of it has come from.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so you also have a discussion about mood board. Okay, I've done vision boards, but not a mood board. Where did that idea come from? And what, once again, you put it in here for a reason, so I'm assuming there was a good point for it.
Yeah, I think like mood boards are almost like a visual affirmation. And so if you can kind of create something that is like inspirational for your collection. I do mood boards for my books. I do mood boards if I'm writing a short story. Like I just love mood boarding. And I think it gets like a different part of your brain going, and it's the first step in the design process. And so we wanted to include that in Black Girls Sew book, because if you can, you know, have like some sort of visual guide, like it'll just help you stay on track and not get distracted when you're creating. So yeah, so it's kind of like a vision board too in a way, but more set around like a certain theme or concept that you're going for a collection.
Hakima, you talked about your nonprofit briefly. You want to let everybody know?
One of the things we talked about before was just spirit, being able to guide this work. I didn't set out to be a teacher. I was a fashion designer, and I was making, you know, nice money, just staying focused and being an artist. But I've been guided like into this. It's a very necessary thing that's happening, and everything that I'm supposed to do has been easy. It lays itself right before me in like a path. And so putting together the nonprofit was easy. I had college students do all of my bylaws and all of the things for free. Another friend just volunteered the information. People come up to me and they say things like, you should write a book. They say, you should start a nonprofit. And I go, me? And then all the information comes along with it. So that's how the nonprofit came about. It was just very necessary work. It didn't exist for us. And so here I am to create it.
So Leslie, this is not your first book.
No.
How did you decide to become an author, and how did this book kind of come into your consciousness?
So my background is in education, and then early on, right after graduating from college, I was like, I want to help young people, but like being in the classroom just felt like so much to be responsible for reading and writing. And so I like went back to college and I started working in nonprofits and foundations and like helping young people that way by working with nonprofits. And long story short, my mom used to make all of my clothes when I was little. And so my first memories are Joann Fabrics, buying like buttons and zippers, and just like it was such a magical world to be able to have that like experience with my mom. And so when I moved to New York to work at the Girl Scout National Office, the office was in the garment district. So every day I was like running out on my lunch break, like looking at fabric and buying buttons, and I'm like, what are you doing? So long story short, I like started blogging, and from there it kind of like led me into teaching kids how to sew. So I ended up doing that while I had my full-time job at Girl Scouts. I was just like teaching sewing, and then I just decided to like leave and do that full-time, or like try to do it full-time, which led to me doing it full-time. And so I think oh my God, I'm talking too much on this question.
You're not.
But what led me to write books about sewing, fashion, and style for young people was just, again, like there weren't like any books at Barnes and Noble. There were no books at Borders that had like pictures of anybody who looked like me in those books. And so I felt like everyone should be able to see themselves and feel beautiful and be represented in the media. And so I started writing So Fab in 2013, which was like my first book, So Fab, Sewing and Style for Young Fashionistas. And after I wrote that book, Hakima and I had a coffee because she used it at the camp that summer. So that was 2015. And so we just talked about like one day being able to collaborate on the book, and then the opportunity opened up for us to do it a couple years ago, and then we've just been rolling ever since.
I love it. Okay, so I'm about to break out this book real quick and ask this real quick question, and then I've got the big question. There is a backdrop in this book.
Yes.
Okay, y'all, I know y'all, some of y'all can see this, some of y'all can't, but I am absolutely going to call this. This is denim. It's a denim backdrop. I need you to explain the denim backdrop, Hakima.
So it's really like you said, for both of us, denim is something that's really like just close to my heart. It's something that I use in my own personal work, but it's something that's really accessible. So it's easy to get my hands on. People volunteer, they bring us tons of denim. I can find it cheaply, but I wanted to make it new. And so we cut up all the denim pieces into little squares. We use parts of it for shorts, so we make a profit off the top of the shorts that keeps fueling the program, and then we take the legs and we do all kinds of things with them. So the backdrop for the book, when we started talking about what it looks like the visuals were really important to me. So I just made this beautiful tapestry, and we were able to use it as part of the book. And a friend of ours, Layla, well, new and old friend of ours, shot the book. And during the time that we were shooting, she was like, what are we doing with this backdrop? And that's, to me, let me know we were like on point visually as to what it should look like. So she is now the proud owner of the
Yeah, because it's bad, y'all. If you couldn't see it in this picture, you got to see it. It's amazing. Okay, so here's the question. And I need both of you to just take a minute and then come out with it. What do you want to make sure people know about you or the book before we start asking questions, letting them ask questions?
I would say for me, the most important thing is that it's not just about a book. It's not about shining a light on me per se, but shining a light on the overall work of what we do. The work isn't done until Black Girls Sew as an organization is in schools nationally. Not just the book there, but the programming there, that we're able to reach not just little Black and brown girls, but girls in general, letting people know that sewing is a sustainable skill, and it's something that everyone should know a little bit of, and it's something that they can use to fuel their lives. You know, it's food, clothes, and shelter is one of the necessities, and if you can provide your own clothing, I think that you're steps ahead.
Absolutely.
And for me, I started teaching sewing and writing these books because as a blogger, like I saw so many things wrong with the fashion industry, you know, issues around diversity and inclusion, issues around sustainability, the way things are like happening behind the scenes at runway shows, and just waste in general. And so I decided to start teaching and to start writing because I think young people are the future of fashion. They are. And if I can like influence them to make better decisions about how they shop, how they care for their clothes, hopefully get them to make their own clothes, hopefully get them to go into the fashion industry, but at least at the very basic, you know, at the very smallest level, just being able to think more consciously about fashion and asking questions like, who made this, where did it come from? I think I am doing something that is meaningful and important to help the environment. And so I think Black Girls Sew is like a huge extension of that, and the book is for everybody. It's not just for Black girls, and like we just want everyone to think differently and to think sustainably. And that is kind of, I guess, my like overall mission and goal. So it's like not about me, but it's about the earth and about just making smarter choices with fashion.
Okay, so I messed up. I do have one more question before I let them ask. The fashion show. Y'all want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think the fashion show was kind of awesome, the idea of it.
And that was just sidebar. I went to the fashion show 4 years ago, and I like took too many photos, and so I was like out to dinner with my friend afterwards, and she was like, when are you guys gonna do that book? Because I was just like, look at this and look at that. So the fashion show is amazing, and it just happened less than a week ago.
Absolutely. So it's the grand finale. So the kids come, they come to a camp that lasts anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks each summer. And that is where they get to show off what they've learned. Most children have never sat behind a sewing machine, and they get to make 2 projects a day, which sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot, but they leave, their parents are picking them up, and they're like, wait, I just want to finish the hem of my shorts, you know. They spend their time there wisely. So by the end of it, the outcome is that they have at least 3 outfits, 3 looks that they can put together that they get to model themselves, or they can bring a friend to the show. We solicit models as well, but most importantly, they also get to take the items that they create in between those spaces, and we talk about entrepreneurship with them, and they're able to sell the items and set up a little business at the fashion show.
Oh, wow.
So we're teaching them a lot. We pack in a lot. The way the book is packed in, that's how the camp is.
Oh my goodness.
Sustainability is entrepreneurship, and it's fashion fun.
That's awesome. Okay, where are we? Okay, so we're about 20 minutes out. So do we have any questions, or do I need to start asking more questions? Come on, I heard clicking and everything. Yes, ma'am. You can come up here to the mic.
You talked about denim, but you're not wearing denim, and I would just love it if you would tell us about what you've chosen to wear today.
So I am wearing things that are all thrifted. So like most of my closet is, you know, it's composed of things that I've made or things that designers who I love have made for me, or that I've like somehow managed to get. But today, yeah, I'm wearing a skirt and a dress underneath the skirt, and yeah, they're just like cotton, you know, thrift store finds. And then I love Converse. So it's kind of like my go-to shoe and has been for like the last 10 years. So that's what I'm wearing.
So this is my guilty pleasure. It's a Brazilian company, Cart Farm Rio. I like them because they have a sustainability for every garment that they sell. They plant a tree, so that's good enough for me. It's bright colors, it's a lot of fun. And I was able to meet some of the designers that work within the company as well in the city.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I was wondering whether or not you ever thought about branching out. And the other part of the question, part 2 of the question is, what age group how many people do you have at your camp, and when does camp start?
Okay. So we do camp in July, the second weekend of July every year, and we do it for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, it depends, and the same in August. And we're definitely looking into, we've done workshops in Atlanta and some in New Jersey, but there are people across the country that are interested in bringing Black Girls Soul to absolutely. There are seamstress. There are people who have way more knowledge than I have in running camps and about the fashion industry. So we're using the book now as a tool that they could use to formulate their projects and learning how to collaborate with people so that we can expand. So please.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I am a cosplayer and a costume. It's been really exciting over the last several years to see more spaces for Black cosplayers that are self-created. I mean, there's Black Fae Day, and even locally there's the BlurredCon, things like that. But cosplaying can be like a really resource-heavy, intensive thing. I was wondering if you can share maybe some thoughts and ideas about how to maybe incorporate more sustainable practices into costume making.
I would say the easiest thing is to really, really go through thrift stores. Like there's so many wonderful pieces that get discarded. There are prom dresses and things that people wear once, but they're great materials. They're materials that if you went to the fashion industry district, you wouldn't be able to afford, but they're just thrown away and they're just there in the thrift store. So I would say start there. There are great YouTube videos and how to recreate. One of my students this summer came to camp because she wanted to create cosplay costumes.
Wow. And just to add to that, I would say, like, look around your house or your friend's house. Like, there's a lot of, like, found items, like foam and bubble wrap and foil and just, like, stuff that, you know, even, like, certain papers. Like, I recently made something out of junk mail. Like, I had so much junk mail. So, like, you can really use just, like, different things, like, at home that, like, you might normally toss. Like, figure out how to work those into the things that you know, work them in with the things that you thrift to create really cool costumes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to also tag in on that one as well because I'm going to amplify what she said. There are so many clothes in thrift stores. People give so many clothes to thrift stores. They don't put out as much as they have. But I've seen full-blown wedding gowns, just designer. I had a thrift store near my house, and we had designer clothes from Europe. Somebody went to Europe. The pants were never hemmed. They had never been worn. They still had the tags on them and everything. So those are places where you can start out with your entire fashion line. And if you're doing cosplay, it absolutely is a way to find, especially if you go into areas where you kind of know there are people who are maybe not from the United States or people who travel a lot, and you see what's in their shops, it's probably going to put you close to some of the things that you're looking for as far as style when it comes to cosplay. By the way, the library has done several events with AwesomeCon. So if you're from the DC area, pay attention around AwesomeCon so you know whether or not the library is going to be participating. And go to AwesomeCon, it's great. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I just want to say I love everything about what you're putting out here, the ideas in the book. I am a dabbler sewist myself, and my daughter just took a sewing camp for the first time this summer. And it's interesting to hear you say that you're in Girl Scout, that you used to work at Girl Scouts, because I'm curious, have you ever considered reaching out to Girl Scouts and expanding there? Because I would love to like bring that to our Girl Scout troop that we're about to join.
Yeah, that's a great question. Girl Scouts is like very insular. Like they have their own books, their own curriculum. I have not, and I'm still in contact with like a lot of my colleagues who are still there. I have not reached out to them yet. I know they have like their own sewing badge and their own design badge. So I just kind of knew from past experience that they don't normally like to always like open it up on a national level to non-Girl Scout programs, but maybe things have changed since I've been gone. So I will like look into that and explore it, because I think Black Girls Sew would be like a really great program to bring into scouting and it definitely would kind of like fill a gap. So yeah, I'll see. Thank you for that like inspiration. I'll try.
Talk to Boy Scouts too. They may decide, they may be a little bit more interested in it because it's something different for them. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I wanted to ask about your camp. You said you do the camp in July and
In August.
So how do you sign up for July and August for next year?
So we're not as organized to have the dates up and have the ability. We usually put our dates up in January because that's when people start signing up for it.
Website or
There is a website. It's www.blackgirlsew.org.
Okay.
So all of our classes are listed. We're on social media as Black Girl Sew on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're getting better at it.
And I wanted to add too, I have an 8-year-old granddaughter, and she's recently been shopping in the thrift stores because she says she likes when she goes to the thrift store and shop, and she can modify what she buys and wears it. She had a pair of denim jeans on, and I said, "Oh, they're so cute." She said, "We got them at the thrift store." So, yeah.
One of our field trips we do for Sew Green Fashion Camp, so every Friday we take them out of the classroom setting and into the world. So one of the field trips we do each year is take them to a thrift store, and we give them a budget intentionally very small so they feel the pressure of actually having to look. So we'll give them a $5 to $10 budget, and they can buy within that budget as many pieces. And it's almost like a challenge. And we've had girls come out with 5 pieces. I'm like, I don't even know where you found all these dollar things. But I try to encourage them, and with a little guide, like go into the departments that aren't just clothing, like go look at the curtains, because you may be able to find bigger, larger pieces of fabric. So that was one of our really fun trips, and they get into it. Initially, they said, "No, we don't want to go to. We want to go to the mall. We don't want to go to a thrift store." You know, like it's, and they get into it over the years. They kind of look forward. I know, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, first off, my name is Christy, and I'm, of course, a volunteer, but I just want to say I am a big fan.
Oh, thank you.
I am a little older than most people in here, some of the people in here, and I sew. I've been sewing since I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I wish I had you.
Oh,
When I started. I really do. I wish I had you. I taught my daughter to sew. She refused to sew until she was in her 20s. She's sitting right there. Anyway, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. This is something that we really did need, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aw, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Shannon Anderson, and I'm a newly published author. And I wanted to ask you a question because I'm not familiar with all the ins and outs as far as becoming a published author. So I have recently had my book published, and I wanted to know, we had a contract, and I'm not happy with my book. They did the revision, I was still not happy. So I want to know, would I be sued if I was to go to another publishing company and have it done correctly the way that I want it done?
Okay, I'm going to tackle that one. Because they're authors, this really isn't the place to ask them, for them to answer that question. What I would recommend is that you look at the contract that you have and then go to an attorney and have them review that contract with you, and then you can go from there. But this isn't really a place that we can answer that, because that really needs somebody to look at the information that you already have presented.
Okay, and my next question, as far as like, can you give me some insights as far as like how to go about promoting my book?
Yeah, how did you ladies promote this book?
Oh, well, we got to be on Good Morning America, which is a really cool first. But I mean, we've been just using a lot of the traditional methods. So Instagram, we've had like a few in-person events. Like things are a little different right now, just coming out of COVID. Like it's kind of harder to like bring people together to gather, which is, I think is why it's so cool to be here today. But we've been just like social media, in-person events. We've been on some podcasts. So it's just been like whatever, you know, we have a publicist at our at Abrams, who's been like helping us get out there. So we've been doing a lot of the traditional things. And am I missing something?
I think that's it so
Yeah.
far, but I think that each project is different. And so for our sewing book, it's easy for me to promote a sewing book because I'm always sewing. We both have stores. Leslie has several stores in the city, and I have 2 stores in Brooklyn. And so I'm able to promote. We have something called Open Streets, where there's it's a street festival, and I get out every Sunday and I talk to hundreds of people about, and we sell the book. And so I laugh. I tell people that we're like Master P. I open my trunk and I sell books. It's very guerrilla marketing. Like we're sitting on this stage, but we're very hands-on, same way.
So what did the kids think when y'all told them that the book was ready to go and it was out there? I mean, did they know about it in advance, or how did you let them know?
I don't think they understood the magnitude of what the book was going to be. I think in their minds, because we do all these things, we do the fashion shows and the camps and all, they thought on that scale. It's going to be local, we're going to print them ourselves, and our parents are going to buy them. And so the young lady who's on the front of the book, her grandmother has bought so many copies of this book. She's just like sending them to people. She's like, my granddaughter's a superstar, So I think it just became surreal when they were able to see it on Good Morning America. This is going to be big for them. And it just keeps getting, bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry. Yes.
I just love personal stories. Do you have a favorite anecdote from one of the girls or children that you've worked with where you kind of got that aha moment, like, I'm doing this right, like this was worth it?
I think for me, every camp, when I'm trying to teach them how to make shorts, it seems like such a simple thing, but for the seamstress, when you're making shorts, it has something that looks like a J on both sides. And it, for the most part, looks like a shirt. And so for every small child that I say, sew the J's and sew the backwards J, and they go, this isn't shorts. I say, can you please just sew it? Everything else, they'll just sew, they'll trust me. But it's something about the shorts that they just don't trust. And so most times I have to stand with them. And I said, just do it, just sew one more. Okay, you did that one, sew the other. And then they have that aha moment when they're able to switch it around. And so for me, that's the thing. It's like waiting to get to that point in the camp. Like, okay, we're going to make shorts today. Nobody's going to believe me.
Thank you.
So I'm going to assume that these books are in the store, but the kids themselves, have any of them like looked in here? Because I know the kids who were actually already part of the photo shoot, they knew about it. Ring just going flying. The rest of the kids, though, are they just like, okay, y'all need to write another book and put me in it?
So like she said, it's funny coming out of quarantine because now I get to see all my parents again. Mm-hmm. And so students who I've had for 5 years that are not in the book got to see their parents at the fashion show, and they were like, I don't understand how you came up with the children that are in the book.
Of course not.
And I said, some of them, it was quarantine and 2 of them belonged to me. It was easy access.
That'll do. That'll do.
And so I just needed to explain to them that it wasn't personal. And yes, we must write another book. So we have to include more children.
Well, I tell you, y'all talked briefly about the fact that y'all have so many other historical figures in fashion. And I think, absolutely, please do that one, because y'all, the ones that they have in here, you're just sitting there like, oh, this is awesome. But so unless we have any other questions, I'm going to make sure, because we're getting down to, are we done or? 4 minutes. Oh, I got 4 minutes. I can ask all right. Okay, so now that we talked about all that, is there anything else that y'all want to make sure that the people know about the book, about you, about the nonprofit, about where your stores are, anything? Because y'all got stores. Y'all want to know, you want people to know where they are?
Well, if anyone is in New York City, I would say drop by Art to Wear. It's kind of like the books are like the next thing. Like I'm like, okay, I've like written all of these like different activity books, and now I feel like the stores are like bringing them to life. Mm-hmm. And so you can kind of see some of the things that I've like written about in real life at the shops. And so one of them is near Times Square. It's 42nd and 8th Avenue in the Port Authority bus terminal. And then the other store is in the Oculus, which is at the World Trade Center site in Lower Manhattan. And there's tons of Black Girls Sew books that have been signed by Hakima and I. So if you come, you can or you can get it today too, but we have our books there. And so it's just almost like a wearable art gallery is the kind of vibe of the store. And so there's a lot of one-of-a-kind upcycle pieces. Some of them are from my students and just different people who I've worked with on this journey. And so it's just been fun to take some of the concepts and bring them to life. Some of the projects in the book, like the earrings are sold. I'm not wearing them right now, but we have an earring that's made out of scraps. So we're selling them there. We have Black Girls Sew t-shirts and buttons and other merch. So check out Art to Wear, W-A-R-E, like my last name. And then Hakima's store.
I have a store in Brooklyn called Botanical Lifestyle, and it's exactly what it says. It fuses all of our passions and all of our loves together. It's flowers, about flowers, whether it's florals in the fabrics or we actually sell plants as well. I have a line called Harriet's by Hakima, and it's sold and sewn in the store. I have a big old sewing machine in the front of the store. People always get a kick out of it. They think it's creative art, but I'm just really working. That's the time that I find. But it's on Tompkins Avenue. I thought it was really particular that she wore this Black Girl Magic shirt because they nicknamed the street Black Girl Magic Street. Where the store is located. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to remind y'all, they're going to be, Hakima and Leslie will be signing their books from 11 to 12 in Hall C, line 20. And I just want to thank y'all so much. This has been great. I enjoyed this book, y'all. Please, please get this book. It's so good. It's so good. And yeah, before she kicks us off the stage, that's going to be it. Thank you very much for attending. Thank all of you for attending.
Thank you.
I really appreciate y'all coming out.